And here is the Writer's Almanac for Wednesday, the 19th of January, 2022. It's the birthday of Patricia Highsmith, born Fort Worth, Texas, 1921, who set out to write crime thrillers. Her first novel, Strangers on a Train, came out in 1950. The story of two men, Bruno and Guy, who meet by chance taking a train and, talking with each other, discover they each have someone they would like to have out of the way. And Bruno suggests that they swap murders. Guy turns him down. Bruno carries out his murder anyway, and then blackmails Guy until he carries out his end of the deal. Alfred Hitchcock turned the novel into a movie the following year. It's the birthday of Robert E. Lee, born Westmoreland County, Virginia, 1807, the commander of the Army of Northern Virginia in the Civil War, and after the war became president of Washington College, later renamed Washington and Lee University. Robert E. Lee suffered a stroke in 1870, died 2 weeks later of pneumonia. 1937, on this day, Howard Hughes broke the record for the fastest transcontinental flight. He took off from Los Angeles 2 a.m, flew 14,000 feet, landed in Newark 7 hours and 28 minutes later. Howard Hughes was a movie producer, business tycoon, one of the richest men in the world, but he said, "I want to be remembered for only one thing, my contribution to aviation." It's the birthday of James Watt, Greenock, Scotland, 1736. There had been steam engines invented already, but he got interested in them because they couldn't do much real work. Too much steam was lost when it condensed inside the chamber as it cooled, and the engines used too much coal. James Watt set about perfecting this great machine. It's the birthday of Dolly Parton, born in Sevier County, Tennessee, 1946, one of 12 kids, born and raised in a little cabin in the Smoky Mountains. Her father paid the doctor who delivered the baby with a bag of oatmeal. She appeared at the Grand Ole Opry when she was 13 years old, and the day after she graduated from high school, she went off to Nashville, Tennessee. And it's the birthday of Edgar Allan Poe, born Boston, 1809. His parents traveling actors. His mother died of tuberculosis when he was just 2 years old, and he was adopted by a Richmond merchant named John Allen. Grew up in a fine house in Richmond with a double portico, went off to the University of Virginia, was kicked out, went to West Point, was expelled there too, published his first book of poems in Boston when he was 18. He was very busy as a writer in New York City, busy and most of the time successful. An editor, reporter, and critic, became famous for his long poem, The Raven, in 1845. Here's a poem for today by Edgar Allan Poe, a poem that he wrote for the mother of one of his school friends, Jane Stannard, who encouraged Poe's early literary efforts. The poem to Helen. Helen, thy beauty is to me like those Nicean barks of yore that gently o'er a perfumed sea the weary, way-worn wanderer bore to his own native shore. On desperate seas long wont to roam, thy hyacinth hair, thy classic face, thy naiad airs have brought me home to the glory that was Greece and the grandeur that was Rome. Lo, in yon brilliant window niche, how statue-like I see thee stand, the agate lamp within thy hand. Ah, Psyche from the regions which are Holy Land. Edgar Allan Poe's poem to Helen. That's the Writer's Almanac for Wednesday, January the 19th. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.